someone who comes to us for the first time and starts talking. I know that young lady yesterday who was playing the role of a client, and there was a social worker at that point in time who could not disclose openly to all of us what those issues were, but she was talking about we do have some family issues. When somebody says, I have family issues, we don't feel well. It is a family issues which need to be solved. But in order to sort out those issues, my question is not what are they named in one by one. My question is not what are the family issues and how do you go about solving them. Do not ask these questions. If you ask these questions, you will fall down like a social worker, because all the troubles of the client will be put on you. So then the question is, then what is a social worker? If a social worker is not to solve somebody else's problems, take their troubles as my own and solve them. Isn't this contrary? Isn't this contradictory? This can be questioned. Nitin, I will ask you, you are not only tall, and you also sit straight. And as a result, somebody loses his head and concentration. May I ask you to be a VIP in front? ताकि he can see better. आप यहाँ पर आ जाओ, नितिन की जगह, ताकि आप मुझे देख सकते हैं, ठीक है? हम धीरे धीरे, मैं आपको डिसिप्लिन नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं आपको सुविधा दिखा रहा हूँ ताकि आप ऐसा ना बेंड करें और मेरे जैसे गर्दन ना हो। This is what I'm trying to do. Ma'am, you also sit well.
Sir, actually it's so thick, so
हाँ, तो किसी और को स्लो करवा दो, आप बैठो अच्छे। हाँ, चेयर पे बैठो। आदमी को स्लो करा दो और अच्छी से बैठो। तो मेरा प्रश्न क्या था? अगर कोई दुखियारा आपके पास आता है और कहता है कि मेरे पास इतना सारा प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, तो वो प्रॉब्लम्स हमारे सिर पे मत डाउनलोड। Download, do not from the client all the problems that he or she has got. कभी भी काउंसलिंग में हो या ग्रुप वर्क में हो और कम्युनिटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में हो, ऐसे लगाओ हाथ आगे। Keep your posture as if your hands are like this. Even when I talk to clients and anybody else, I kind of put my hands somewhere here. Don't put your dustbin on my table. Don't throw your luggage on my table. Don't throw your rubbish on my table. क्योंकि मेरे पास काफी कुछ कूड़ा है. I've got enough rubbish to deal with myself. I'm not going to deal with your rubbish. Then you might ask me a question, ऐसे कैसे social work पढ़ा सकते? Social work is all about helping the clients to help themselves. If that is the case, तो कैसे उनका पूरा हम उठाएं? तो हम ऐसे कहते हैं उनको, we ask them at that point of time. Was there a time when there were no problems? Was there a time when you were happy? They will start thinking. Yes, there were good times. When people start telling me that there are some good times, then we ask them, what were the good times like? They will describe to the good times. What have you done? The client came crying. You are asking them, when did you not cry? And why did you not cry? And what were the conditions at that point of time for not crying? So what you are doing? You are amusing the client and diverting the attention from the problem to the good days. इससे क्या होता है? उसकी जो एंजाइटी है, उसकी जो दशा है, उसकी जो दिशा है, thinking, opportunity, the current situation gets a little diffused. The opportunities increase and he starts thinking in terms of. Do you remember, anybody knows the song called Those Were the Days, My Friend? We start, they will never end. Have you ever heard of that? Look for that song. अंग्रेजी गाना है, English song. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they would never end. No. Why are people talking about that? People talk about those were the days because they want to reminiscence, they want to remind themselves that there was a wonderful time. So I'm interested in finding out. Good morning, lawyers. You haven't missed much. If you have read first chapter, second, third, fourth, you are with me. Have you read? Okay, that punishment will be there. Finish 6th and 7th and 8th by tomorrow. Alright. So, I mean, lawyers can be punished too. But these are good lawyers. They were involved in a good program yesterday. They took my permission to be there. Alright, so what was I saying? So those were the days. So you are asking the client to reminiscence about those days. Then the next question is, what were the conditions at that point which are good? Why were they good? In what conditions were your situation in that way? When they say about those conditions, automatically you will find out the deficits. I'll give you an example of this. You know, I have not been only an academician, I have also been a social worker, I have also been a manager, I have also been a regional director. But in my team leading and area management case in social work in Australia, one lady came in child protection and she said, this misbehavior of our child is so obnoxious, is so, he's doing everything destructively. And then she started saying, they're all fighting among themselves. And I asked her, So she was telling me, this is Paul, that is Peter, and that is this, and this is this. When Paul is not here, his children behave well. First time I'm learning. She may have another partner who is Paul, and his children are also in the same house. I will not do the demographics as soon as they come. Name, patni, बच्चे किसके हैं, किसके बच्चे को पाल रहे हो, कुत्ते के बच्चे कितने हैं आपके घर में, ये पूछताछ से मुझे कुछ नहीं होता. It doesn't matter to me whether those children belong to you or children belong to your ex-husband or old husband or new husband or old partner, divorcee, or you have dogs, cats and other things. You have a problem. All I need to know is what's your name. You said Rachel. Okay, Rachel. Good. What's the problem? She'll tell you what the problem is. Little bit. Then we start thinking in terms of okay, so it goes back to that, is it? Huh? It doesn't matter. You're seeing her family, right? Yes. Practice who they are. They will give you an impression. They're a nice family. I also saw them now. Yesterday we saw Akshay's family, and today we will be seeing his family. Are they smiling too? Huh? Good. So they are smiling, so they are not social work now. Right. So, what happens then? So then she started talking about a new partner has entered. In a Western country, a new partner has entered along with his children. It happens. Your children, my children, our children. If you are not accepted into a relationship of two people coming together, your children, my children, our children, there will be problems. Your dad, my mother, and all of us together, if that is not accepted at the children's level, there will be problems. You fight because you have come from a King Kong's children. And we don't fight because we had a small tiny father who was always afraid like a rat or a mouse. He never taught us how to fight. As soon as these big boys come, these other children go away to their mama and say, "Mama," and then retreat. So this new mother has to figure out what needs to be done. In the whole process, child protection department comes in, picks up a child, they come to our department, and they need to be taken care of by someone. Is it necessary to do that is what I am interested in finding out. So what I am asking is, what has worked for the clients before? Then the mother starts telling me, oh, at that time, Granny was around. That means there was a grandmother. Am I going to ask her when did he pass away? Because I don't know. She didn't tell me Granny was around. That's what she said. I can't conclude by saying she's passed away. I also can't conclude by saying why. I'm not going to ask her a question as to is she not around? I'm not going to ask a question or assume that she is literally gone away over or somewhere, that she has not approved of the new relationship. I will not go to any assumptions. Instead, in what I call parking lot on a yellow sheet of paper, I write down Granny's absence. So what does Granny's absence do? What did Granny do when she was around? I want to know. I understood when Granny was around, Granny means grandmother was around, she kind of looked after all these kids, so there was no problem. So now what do we need? What do we need? We need a Granny now. Where do I bring the Granny? If you ask the social work, if you download all the problems of the client to yourself, you have to bring the Granny and you have to bring the cat also. Whereas if you only discuss these problems in this way, your problem is yours, not mine. I'll give you a suggestion. Don't throw your garbage on my table. Indirectly, being professional is to take on what you can take on and what you can work with, rather than take everything on. Remember one thing, people also make mistakes, we take on everything. Who was it who was asking me, why did you take on all of this? Somebody else has to do also some of those activities. Sneha was asking me yesterday in another context, why are you taking everything? You made a mistake. A seasoned social worker like me can make mistakes. An unseasoned, upcoming professional like her can point out to me and become my social worker and tell me, you are stupid, Veka, you have taken too much. That's exactly what Sneha said. Sneha is Sneha Jackson from another university. I understood. So when is it that we do counseling? When is it that we get some questions and answers? Is what we need to be looking at. Okay. So when the grandmother was not there, so what does it mean? We need somebody now to care for them. I park that and keep this. Next question. Did you as a family ever go out all together? before is my next question. It's a nice question. Yes, we did. We went to movies, we had popcorn. Okay. How often did you do that? Oh, we used to do that when Paul was present in my life. Now, another relationship is coming. Paul's gone, Peter's came. Before that, another relationship also went there. So I'm talking about Western countries where there are 2, 3 multiple relationships. Here, even if multiple relationships are not there, multiple problems are there. So now again I have to park this information. I can't ask her who's Paul in your life now. That becomes intrusive. I will have to wait until that information is here. I have to pursue the line of thought that I have started with. What's your name, Siddhartha? No. Yeah? Aripona. What's your name? शिवांगी. ओके. जब आपको थोड़ी सी समझ में उधर इधर हो जाता है, आप उठाओ, ठीक है? Don't feel shy. I read everybody's face and I see everybody. Right? तो अगर सोच रही हो कि मेरा आइडिया अंदर आ रहा है, फर्स्ट क्लास. अगर नहीं आ रहा है, ask. I'll go back to you. Sure? Very good. Now, ये मैं 7 लोगों के साथ करता हूँ और 100 लोग भी होते तो करता हूँ. Eye contact is something that I maintain. If there is no eye contact, you are not a social worker. So, what I was saying at that time is essentially that I understood what to do with it out of experience. What I was saying, I have parked Paul away because I don't want to get too much tension. Otherwise, I would have told my parents, are they gone? Being a social worker. People ask me, go buy a wig, get you a color. I said, I'm not my brother. My brother, younger brother and other brothers that I got, all of them color and do all of that nonsense. It's another waste of time, waste of money. You're going against nature. So, and why do I have to hide my age? How old do you think I am? Just for the question. Guess. What is my one? 55. 56? 60. 60, 55. Which, I mean, you can be honest.
Approx 55 to 60.
65 to 60. Which are, they don't want me to look old. They want to be, they feel, किसी की वो एज बताने के लिए भी हम थोड़ा झिझकते हैं. We tend to think, hey, should we be singing like an old man or not? Or what are the other guesses? You think? पूरा बना दिया ना? I'm 72. Yeah.
We were saying you must be 70.
So it's right. So I'm 72. My energy comes from inspiration. My inspiration comes from darkness, where there is no awakening, where there is no knowledge, where there is something that I could do, where I could go in life. So that's how that idea comes from. So I tend to be around that. So that's what it is all about. So I would be growing older, I would probably be the same for some more time. And so the secret of aging, as long as you're active and you're active 15 to 16 hours per day, you'll be just fine. So when Paul was not there and Peter was not there, or when everybody was there, when Peter didn't come and Paul came, first husband. The story is they all went to a nice movie, they had popcorn and everything. So I parked it around. So what is the problem? Now I understood. The problem that I understand is, maybe she has got a little bit of less economy. As soon as one partner goes away and divorces, immediately she is vulnerable. कोई और रोड से आया, दरिया दिखाया. Somebody came from the road and said, "Hello, how are you? I have my sympathies with you. I also have a couple of children. Your children, my children, our children." He told the story and she invited me. So it is a vulnerability that also builds the relationships. It is a vulnerability that also breaks the relationships. The very reason why she left Paul to Peter is this vulnerability. Lack of understanding, domestic violence. Whatever the case may be, that is what she has managed to do. She liked the new partner, but the obsessive compulsive behaviors of the new partner's ex-children or the next partner genetically do not match with her own ex-partner and her own children. As a mother, she has got mother chicken, with all these little few chickens going around. She's able to manage, but there are times when she wants to say, where did you learn this from? She's able to ask the other children whom have come into the house. The relationship between the children is like 2 or 3 boarders in a hostel. They haven't become intimate. My colleagues who are staying in the hostel with me here, what do they call it, guest house or whatever it is, didn't take 24 hours for them to become good friends. Now they are talking about invitations to Maldives and invitation to Sri Lanka and everything else. If I talk to the Zimbabwe girls for a little while, I'm quite sure whenever they go back, they will say, "Sir, when you come, please visit us." It depends on communication, what you intend doing, and how those things happen. In the beginning, you might say, will you travel? Yes. Okay, if you travel, give me a call. That might be the first relationship. The second time when you speak, they say, "Come and stay with me." Third time when you meet with them, I said, "I take you around." This is how changes happen. So in this situation, what we are talking about is to find out what has to work now right for them. We need to know what does not work with them and what. So that one particular question has to be broken down into various questions. And the questions, alone when you are breaking, you are creating awareness, you are educating her, you are building the self-confidence, you are making her action, and you are bringing her to the front. And then the handshake will automatically take place. Thank you very much for this conversation today. And then we will meet again on so and so day. How do I know that my client is going to come back to me for a discussion? If I ask you, will you come back? That's one way of asking. The other way of asking is, I have a slot, a time, an appointment time on 12th March at 12:30. Would you like to take that to come back for discussion? What have you shown? You have shown your power. You are a social worker. Good power you have shown. You have been assertive. You have given the opportunity. You have not stopped. You can open the door. Yeah, because those people always come, open the door. You have given the opportunity for the person concerned to think about, hey, not only I have a decision-making capacity to come or not to come, I even have a slot of time, a time slot that has been given to me, 5th March, 12 baje aana. Achha? So I learned something to respect the time of the social worker. A client cannot abuse you. A client cannot take away all your energy. A client has to do respectfully his relationship with you. And that is the thing why you can always say, I've got a time slot, would you like to come? इसमें क्या मालूम पड़ता है? What do we learn from that? One, whether today's interview went well with you, whether you have accepted me as a social worker, whether it was useful to you by talking to me today. I don't need to ask these questions. My feedback comes from your acceptance of wanting to come and meet me on March 4th. So, strength-based practice involves our communication also. This is where I say, when a client comes to us, he wants to throw the garbage at you, tell him, yours is yours. I got it. इसका मतलब क्या है? प्रॉब्लम आपका है, मेरा नहीं। प्रॉब्लम आपको सॉल्व करना है, मैं नहीं। I am not the one to solve the problem. You are, but you shall solve it in a collaborative way. I'll give you those skills, and then we can go on. So, in another third stage is a third question. Don't think these three questions can be asked like that. Each question is a process. Each question has 20 to 30 questions, 20 to 30 minutes of your conversation. What has worked for the clients before, जानने के लिए पूरा history मालूम करना है. If you know, you need to understand the whole history. How do you get to the history? This is how you get to the history. You don't get to the history by saying, tell me right from the beginning your birth to now. That is demography. I don't need that. Real history, I don't need that. Connected with the consequence of today's behavior, connected with the incident of today's behavior, connected with the accident today, I need to know the history. The lawyers know what to ask. Lawyers will say, wait a minute, hang on, I don't want तुम्हारा पूरा दास्तान मुझे नहीं चाहिए. मुझे इतना बताओ, उस समय you were there or not. The lawyer will ask, were you there or not? Okay, you are not there. How do you know? Okay, this is how you know. Now I tell you, tell them you are not there. I don't even know. Because the moment you say, I know about it, this is how I came to know, they will ask you, how did you come to know? Various other questions come. So they shut you up in the middle when they know that the loopholes will release more questions which are not necessary. A lawyer can also makes a judgment on his client, whether he is true or false. Whether the statement of his client is true or false is definitely known to the lawyer. But he will pursue both true and false to its logical conclusion. A social worker will help a prisoner, will not differentiate is a prisoner, he is a criminal. With a criminal, he will give him a perspective to rehabilitate. Doesn't mean once he is rehabilitated, say let us assume you are accused in a murder. You have already done 20 years of jail. and you come out. Social workers might even change you from, if you are from Mysuru, they might bring you back to Bilaspur. They might even change your state if necessary, because a lot of other people still have a doubt. They might do all those things, but at the end of the day, rehabilitation is something that they do. So social work has that samanata in terms of acceptance, movement and other things. At about 1 o'clock, whatever the time is, let me know, because there will be some others who will be coming for a short conversation. So politician will be coming. I need to talk to them. And थोड़ा सा ज्ञान वहाँ पर भी बांटना है. So at 1 I will be going away for about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. By the way, today we will be having lunch together. I am not running away for lunch to this house because I consider that bad manners. Along with me, all my guests will also be having lunch here, whatever your boxes are. And so that. Yeah, what?
No, you said you will break for tea and dinner, so I was wondering.
Yeah, as the tea comes, actually I will tell us. I'm glad, somebody is monitoring me. What is your impression? Do you think I can talk 24 hours? Do you think so? Yes. Yeah. And do I talk sense for 24 hours? That's all. If I take nonsense the day somebody said, one person says I talk nonsense, that day I will retire. Until that time I will retire. So my retirement is decided by people when I talk sense or nonsense. So let's assume we are moving there. Okay, so we are coming to the third question, what might work today? So that means by the time I come to this third sentence, I would have done 10 or 12 interviews with the client. The client has understood that maybe in the conversations it might even come up to her an awareness. Her living with Paul was better than taking Peter. Could be. But even if it comes out, Paul's gone. He's gone and taken somebody else. The life's like that in the Western world, except for Asians, Indians and others. But they are also learning very fast. That the divorce rate of Indians abroad is also increasing. And domestic violence, which is there in our culture here, has also migrated to the Western world. So it's nothing changes. Caste system, which is there in this country, is also coming up in America. So after going there, they are trying to find out, what is your caste? How do they recruit? Crazy people. So I'm glad I'm a different species. I don't know whether I'm an earthworm or a full species. I have no caste, I have no class. I have no religion, but I'm a Brahmin. What kind of a person am I? It doesn't matter for me the identification. So that's the way we've got to grow, and you will grow over to that level only when you are able to understand that all humanity is one. So 11 o'clock we were supposed to have a tea, and in the morning we were supposed to have a prayer. And there was one young lady who said she will one thing I learned in India, in every visit it improves. What is it that improves in India every time? Respect to punctuality. Punctuality. I didn't use the word disrespect to punctuality. I just use the word respect to punctuality because disrespect is a negative word. It comes out from the word respect. And it happens because of various reasons. Now sir is here. It will not take 2 minutes for him to be called to a meeting, crisis meeting. We'll be in one crisis meeting. Somebody else will call you for another meeting. This is how we get busy. And this is how things, the work expands by itself, meaninglessly. So that is how we were supposed to have a cup of tea at 11 o'clock. It became 11:58. I think I'm still having my cup of tea unless this is somebody else's. And in the meantime, I have to go over a couple of other things to do. So the chain of thoughts for us was to return early, to assure you, for all those people who have just joined. Of course, there were a few people who joined late in the morning. They came later and they have vanished. Attendance book will show you that there are 50 people. Attendance in the hall will keep on varying from 50 to 20 to 25. Disgusting. If I say that will be reported. But reported for what purposes? By whom? And for what does it serve? Do we preserve bad quality or do we throw out bad quality? Kindly help the country to grow in every way, wherever you are. Help your colleagues to also keep up the punctuality. Would I have ever gone out to do anything other than do the class lecture if it was not necessary for me? So, it's not just a comment on, with a bit of a sadness, but certainly it is not. It is also not a humorous thing to observe on somebody's punctuality. Return back to Paul and Peter and the conversation that we had about their family. What it is based on is essentially individuals having the capacity, individuals having the strength, and we are trying to want to solve and figure out from them what could basically be done. Now, I'm just brushing off this. The questions which I am trying to, some of you have read this, some of you have not. That's why I'm going to concentrate on it. Many of our social challenges that we have, whether they are at the casework level or group work level, whether you are a lawyer, printer, architect, social worker, the question that you need to always think about is, are there any upper limits for anybody's growth and development? How far can you go? A role is training officer in an organization, but a very important organization in the government of Sri Lanka. Technically has almost come here as the ambassador of that particular country, because when somebody comes to, when we talk about Atithi, that Atithi, whether he is of a smaller rank or a higher rank, is that rank, Now suppose I tell you, look, one day, if you work through properly, you could become the Director General of that particular organization. If he suddenly says, no, then there is a problem that I could understand and relate to. I will not immediately tell him. But if he says, why not? I will one day. Then I have a role to work with him, because I have said this and I will ensure that those skills, those developmental needs and all those things are met. So we have to be careful in questioning. How do I know whether somebody will do that or not? I remember there was a young fellow who might come show up today again at some point of time. From social work, he said he wants to become a policeman. So he's writing this, becoming atta katta, kasrat karta. So I added an ambition to it. I said, you do become a policeman, but become IPS officer. things. One, I supported him. Two, I made him think. So he will start thinking, if somebody thinks that I can, maybe I can. He will take those steps. Building up the positive world is primarily by not pumping people up, but by a realistic assessment of what can be done and what can't be done. Somebody says, I am from Dalit area, but I have never used the Dalit as a cause to come up. मैंने उसको यूज करके कभी नौकरी नहीं पाया. I never got it. I got it in open merit. Wonderful. At some point of time, as you go on open merit, and others know that you are from a particular caste, community, or whatever it is in our country, what might happen is, even though you came up with a merit, there is still that unfortunate cultural idea that you do belong there. So every time you might have to say, hey, be there. I'm exactly like you. मैंने कोई reservation use नहीं किया. I've never used any of those reservations. A person might say that. क्यों बताना पड़ेगा? बताना इसलिए पड़ेगा कि you cannot hide the light under some kind of a cushion, because the light will not show up. So assertiveness of your story, often giving that particular story, is an important thing also, because social memory is limited. That your meritorious is limited, but they tend to say, you belong to this particular class, you belong to this particular tribe, might be the way in which things might happen. So what happens there? At some point of time, there is a position to which he wants to climb. He's got everything. There is somebody else from another community who also has everything. He has a fear that this upper caste man might get that job rather than himself, who is also meritorious, but he belongs to a particular caste. So at that point of time, if you have to empower, empowerment seems to be one of those things that it does not stop. I am not fully empowered. If I was fully empowered, I would change the shape of this body before I do the conference. If I am fully empowered, I would not run away every now and then to do some political discussions and things like that. I try to do a few things, and I need help here and there. So I ask for that help. Good clients, bad clients, developing clients, extremely well-resourced clients also need that help. When they ask, it must be given. So in this case that I am telling you about SC and a normal person going higher up, and I know that this person has never used the reservation card and came by open merit. I told him, use it now. Kyun? Because in a country where a privilege is there, you deny yourself that privilege and not use it is a great thing that you've done. But at the end, when you deserve it, of course the other person also deserves it. I don't care if the other person deserves it. I deserve it is important to me. If I feel I deserve it, I must get it. So social work then supports that individualistic human rights orientation. The moment I talk about human rights, people will say, oh, he's talking leftism. No, nonsense. I'm not talking leftism here. I'm talking about the individual's right there that is to be recognized. So we have this. So we have to help them. We have a duty of care to help somebody from that particular community has come to a particular level, and that is the last step that he can take. Community is such. Community is such that sometimes it makes those stupid remarks that our President of India is somebody. He became something because he belongs to something. Sad. Yesterday I learned from him about his research topic. He did on suicides, agricultural farmer suicides in this country. I wanted to know why do farmers suicide and if there is a class structure. Straight, because I know they do commit suicide. But I learned that the rich don't commit suicide because rich today floods are coming, today tomorrow rains don't come. It doesn't matter, they've got a backup. The poor don't commit suicide because after all they never had a land, they have always been working in somebody else's land. If not this land, some other land they go away. It is the poor, not poor, the middle class which has committed suicide because they have taken loans from the bank to develop the land and to do something or the other. Now see the tragedy in our country. I say our country even though I am an Australian. This is my country of birth for which I come every year at least twice. The tragedy in our country is house together. Okay. आज हम इसको एकदम फिट कर देना पाऊंगा. So what we are talking about is who pays taxes, more taxes in this country? Please tell me. बेटा थोड़ा सा आवाज मेरे माइक से जाना. Increase your voice more than mic. Middle class. Upper class has different ways by which it can go through. The poor, of course, they have nothing else but to pay GST. अगर ऐसा मैं बात करूँ तो मैं लेफ्टिस्ट हो गया. ना, मैं बता रहा हूँ कि लेफ्टिस्ट की बात नहीं, सच बात ये है कि मिडिल क्लास हमारे पास ज़्यादा टैक्स देती है. अब साहब को बड़े साहब सैलरी मिलता है. But by the time he pays his taxes, there is only a little bit of money that he can put in NSS and save. If he puts it in any other shares or something or the other, we don't know shares will remain or share will be taken away by another line share. So you can't really. Market fluctuation के साथ middle class will not be doing. Middle class does not play well with market fluctuations. It serves the need. It is shocking for me to learn that it is middle class which is having the brunt. So, who is poor then? From one definition, the middle class are poor. They are educated. They have salaries, but their salary they have to give back. By the time they give back everything else, they are settled and definitely much more poorer. In my country too, where I live in Australia, 65 is supposed to be the kind of age at which you can retire. I'm still working. If I retire, I should probably be getting some pension or something. I'm working because my pension is insufficient. I'm also working because maybe if I stop working, my brain will die. And if my brain dies, I'll quickly die. So it has all those kind of things. So I don't want to. I will go when I need to go. I probably might even predict when I need to go going at some point of time. It's quite possible. So, when you are active, you need that support. Who supports me now? My family supports me by saying, okay, you want to do this, you want to do that, get out and do it. They don't tell me you are retired, sit at home, grow cabbages. They don't tell me sit down at home and do the jhadu. Now that you have never done 25 years, I have done, so you do the jhadu now. My wife will never say that. Of course, she doesn't do the jhadu herself. But the fact of the matter is, in a society where we have a division of labor, labor doesn't shift with the retirement of the husband. Home duties don't get altered if it is not part of the culture. If Iran does not know how to put rice and check whether it is cooking or not, or whether the water is sufficient by his 2 fingers, he's never done it. He will be dependent on his 12-year-old girl to do rice and white clothes for maternity leave. Thank God all our maternities are over when there are boys and girls who manage it. But the point is that you need to understand how, when we can help people, and how, when we can differentiate between developmental needs and actual social work needs. My hypothesis is, if we don't care for the developmental needs of people, at some point of time, those people will go into that crisis more quickly. If we don't tend to take care of the middle classes, because they are educated, they are that, they are this, etc., apathy, indifference, detachment grows in them, and they will not want to participate in the election process. And this is the reason why all political parties concentrate only on the slums and say 5,000 per vote, car for vote, 30,000 for something else and something else and something else. It sometimes happens really. So, we need to restructure. But restructuring also strength-based practices is more or less useful. So that theory and everything else, quoting different people, is all there in that little book that you have got. The little book, my feeling is, don't ever throw it, because even though you got it free, after this you will never get it. It will always be helpful to you to construct your life, construct somebody else's life, and also because every now and then you can go back and read. So, knowledge about, I know it's too small, I'm just reading it out because there's a computer breakdown and a few other histories. What do clients understand about themselves, others, and their surroundings? Do they have an understanding? What are the personal attributes through which they can grow? The stereotypical attitudes that we might have about, let's say, black students in our country. Not that we are not black, but maybe more African countries' students are black, foreign students. How do we relate to them? If they were to be in Sri Lanka, will they be left alone and happy they are and you are happy? It will not be the same here. There are lovely tensions between us. Some tensions they contribute, but there are more tensions we contribute to their lives. And that kind of a thing, that we divide, that we understand humanity in different ways, we get to learn more here than elsewhere. Was India ever a united country before the British? Not necessarily. Politically united, culturally we are all different. We do respect each other. We have not lost that respect. And we can see that, whether it is Om Shanti Om that Sneha was reading for us. Sneha is a nice name. But damn it, she's a Miss Jackson. She's a Christian. And she did this. This is the beautiful thing. We got to keep that like that. So that is the most important thing, that when you talk about attributes, traits, abilities, virtues people have, celebrate them. Give them a hug. Care for them and nurture. The next questions which are related to coping and resilience are, when somebody survives, uncover the strengths. For some of you who may not know, for some of you who know me now, I have gone through a crisis. I'm still surviving. Something motivates me to survive. Something tells me, don't give up, don't give up. Push it, push it, push it, I'm pushing it. So what do you need to know? You need to know, why do you want to survive? Why do you not want to just die? It's a bad question, but what it means is, why don't you just surrender and get lost? What makes you tick, what makes you not? Then the answers would be, so tell me one thing, if you are in a crisis, wives, okay, I couldn't get your name, so I just thought about your t-shirt. Very good, smile. If you were in a crisis, would you like to come out of it? Or would you like to go inside and not sit here? You want to come out? You want to come out of it strong, or you just want to come out of it?
Strong.
Strong. Tell me, who is it that who does not want to come out of the crisis strong? कोई है वैसा जो क्राइसिस में से बाहर आने के बाद और मजबूत ना बनना चाहता है? कोई होगा? Everybody wants to. So if you need a little bit of help on the way, the right time, the right quantity, it has to be given. तो ये given का मतलब ये नहीं कि it should be available to you. It should be asked first. You need to ask. Even mother does not feed the babies because they are hungry. Only initially mother knows my little baby is getting hungry and takes the baby to the chest. Or mixes dal, chawal, ghee, namak and gives it to her or him. Initially, yes, you feed. After some time, they ask. So that asking has to be there. If you don't ask, you will not get help. Suicide is one of those areas where, when you feel those tendencies, you must ask. So, I have written a lot on resilience and everything, other places. You know now how to research, Google Scholar and everything else. When you put cooler link and you not get some ideas. And so what we're talking about here is to believe the story that somebody brings to you. Because even if it is a story which has a little bit of fiction in it, as you start believing in it, the person will be driven to a little bit of guilt to say later on, I have not given you a full story because I was not too sure you needed whether you will actually help me So I have hidden some part of the story. And now I am telling you the truth. Second time. Believe it then. After third time, another interaction. Actually, I have never told anybody my story. I always create my story. Even now I have not told you truth. Even now, आधा सच आपको दिखाया है. I have not told you the पूरा सच. I have not told you the whole truth. You don't mind? Please accept as I go on. This is my character. I think I am compulsively hiding something. But I know one thing, that I need help. Is she honest or is she not honest? Is she really having a need or is she not having a need? She is having a need. And what is the need? The need is that she is compulsively creating all those things because of the fear that somebody may not necessarily tell and do what needs to be done. So the problem is more than the problem that she is talking. So what do you recognize there? The problem is not the problem number 1, not the problem number 2, not the problem number 3 that she talked about in 3 different meetings. The problem is she has some inconsistency across all her life due to, I don't know. So, complexities and complex minds come up like that. So what happens? Does everybody have psychologists? Does everybody have a psychiatrist? No, we don't. We have something called community psychiatry. That means we can take care of the entire community. When do we do that? When Sudan and Eritrea have a fight, or I don't know, the geographies are mixing up, but let's say some 2 countries in Congo West and Congo East fight. Zimbabwe is not involved much in fights. But suppose something like that happens, and the whole humanity is made into refugees. There's an article of mine which you could read at some point of time on coping and resilience. There is a war between 2 nations. This side black people, that side black people. This side people can speak that side language, that side people can speak this side language. At the border security forces, these guys bring what they have got to sell. Those guys bring what they have got to sell. Happily, trade takes place between exchange of French currency from there to here and some other currency from here to there. After the sale is over, gone. Are people bad? Borders may be bad. If borders are completely broken, what might happen? A lot of population moves from one to the other. If a lot of population moves from one to the other, inequality might come up, so therefore, there are wars, there are peace. So that means there is a peaceful mechanism which is going on. If you look up in the YouTube, in 2012, I did a video of life in border villages, where I took some videos of Thailand, Burma, Pakistan, India, some other country, I don't remember. I myself do not do all the videos. Some of my boys and girls do those videos and I do a little bit of commentary and they go. Now, and other colleagues. In one of those villages, a question was asked, how come you are trading with us? How did you start? He says, oh, it was very, very easy. One truck came. Along with the truck driver, we put our business cards. Behind the business cards we've written, we have tamarind, we have salt, this is the price at which we sell. Go distribute. And it distributed. Likewise, on the other side also somebody else sent a card in our language. It said, we've got onions, we've got sugar, we've got something else. Border security forces are seeing left, right. We give him 2 kilos extra onions. Those people give 2 kilos of extra sugar. Do whatever. And they are happy in terms of the trade between these two villages. Then we ask the next question, what happens to the guns and what happens to the gunpowder? And they have that. It happens, we hear, we forget about it. Sadness and beauty together. Beauty of continuing a life even in sad situation. In another village, a teacher with 40 students are sitting underneath a tree. The question was, do you all sleep well in the night? There's a lot of shelling going on. We got used to it and we sleep okay. And the teacher was asked, do you get salaries? No, we don't have right now salary. We had 6 months reserve in the salaries budget that we divided among 3 of us and we are looking after one day the salary. So what does that mean? It means survival is a compromise to see an inner peace is developed, because if that is not developed, you can't even move. Where do I complain? Who listens to me? Is a question that needs to be asked, and asked as often as you can. So that's what it is. So believe that mind, even though you might have other issues. Lead the client to discover their needs, in fact more needs, or push, उसके जाओ. मतलब पूछने का तरीका अलग है. Don't ask them. You know, I try to make conversation with our lecturer every time he comes and give importance. It's nice how much importance he gives me to